So hi guys, today I want to talk about another topic that is interesting for job seekers, and I found this again on Reddit. Reddit has a lot of interesting posts, I'll be honest, and I want to help Reddit users and all my viewers as well on their job search, and as well if they're hiring managers. Again, if you're new to the channel, I'm Dmitry Nulman. I run New Config, an IT executive, sales, and finance staffing agency. Been running it since 2012. I have 10 employees. There's 11 of us. We brought in about 1.7 million in revenue in last year. Work with Fortune 1000 companies all over the country, all over Canada, and we're growing fast. And I deal with hiring managers all day, every day, and candidates too, job seekers. And unlike other coaches and YouTube creators, we actually have a view into the deliberation of a jury, into the deliberation, in this case, of hiring managers. We know why hiring managers hire, why they don't hire, what they like, what they don't like, what interests them. And I use this knowledge to impart it on job seekers to help them, and I use it also to hire managers to teach them the best practices so they could be more successful in hiring, and job seekers could be more successful in finding jobs. So here's a topic. I'm going to read it straight from Reddit because I think it's really interesting, and it's, can I leave my former employer off my resume? I'm going to read it. It goes like this. I recently quit a toxic job that I only worked at for 3 months. I quit by leaving all their stuff there and never returning. Anyways, I left this job on my resume, and I'm prepared to talk about what happened. However, I'm not getting a lot of interviews. This makes me wonder if I should leave it off my resume entirely. I have a second job in retail that I started way before working for this toxic job, and it closes the gap. However, the big concern is if they could see this unresumed job on a background check. It would obviously be a red flag. Any thoughts if they could somehow find out about an unresumed job? So this is what I have to say. If you only had been there for 3 months, I think you need to be, I always weigh on the side of being honest. And being as honest as possible. And then you don't have a problem with the background check. So my advice is get rid of the job because it was a toxic environment. And one of the big things I teach candidates is you don't want to talk negatively about your past employers. If you talk negatively about your past employers, guess what the other person on the other side of the table is thinking? Well, today he or she's talking negatively about them. Tomorrow, he or she is going to be talking negatively about me. And that is bad because that's going to weigh on you because that means you have a less chances of getting a job if the hiring manager is thinking that. And believe me, they're thinking that because I talk to hiring managers all day, every day. A lot of them are thinking that if you're talking bad about your past employer, you're going to start talking bad about them too one day. So you don't want to ever badmouth your past employer. I never recommend that. It's if you have nothing good to say about a past employer, just like they taught you in kindergarten, don't say anything at all. If they ask you, say, I worked there and I left and I wish them well and it wasn't the right path for me and I'm looking for a better path to grow. Now, I can't tell you if it's going to hurt you. Have them on there. If you could have them on there, and then don't talk negatively about them. Just say that I left there. It wasn't the right place for me. I wish them well. I don't have anything bad to say about them. They're a nice company. I wish them well. I'm looking for growth. That's why I'm talking to you today. So I don't recommend talking negatively about your past employer. However, this person might be right. It might be hurting them to have a 3-month job on there. If you're looking for a job, in a white-collar job, I don't recommend putting a retail job in its place. I recommend leaving it all off if you want to leave it off. And if you do a reference checks, if they're reference checks, you just don't give a reference from this job. And they might be able to find out that you worked there. And if they ask you, you could say, I only worked there for 3 months, and that's why I have left it off the background check. But the background check usually checks companies that you've already worked at. So what I mean by that, I mean by references that you give. So if you give, they check if you worked at those companies. They call the places that you worked, and they make sure that the dates match. So if you say that you worked at Cardinal between June 8th, 2012 and June 5th, 2020, they're going to make sure that the dates are correct. So if you left your last employer 3 months ago, you're not lying, you're being honest. It's just you've been looking for a job for 3 months. The background check company's not gonna check the employer that you left that you were there 3 months because it's not on your resume and they don't have that number to call. And when they call, they check dates. They check, and if the dates on your resumes match, you're not being dishonest. In those 3 months, you were looking for a job. That is what you should say. There's going to be a gap of 3 months in your resume, but that's okay. You worked there, it wasn't a fit. Basically, you were looking for a job for 3 months. You hoped that that was the job, it wasn't it. So that's my advice. I recommend if you're leaving it on there, I give you 2 options. First option, you can leave it on there, but then don't badmouth your former employer, have only good things to say about them, or don't say anything at all. The second thing is you can take it off, and it's fine to take it off, and just don't talk about them. And I don't know if it's going to hurt you. It all depends on the person. Being on a job for just 3 months is definitely bad. If it was me, I'd probably just leave it on there and just not talk bad about my former employer. Just have positive things to say. That's what I would do in your situation. You could leave it off and then you just have a 3-month gap. I don't recommend putting a retail job in there. Don't fill the gap. I think all your dates should be honest on your resume because that's what a background check company is going to do. They're going to check the dates on your resume and check that you actually worked there based on those dates. That is my advice. I hope to answer this question. I deal with these situations all the time, and I don't like giving a black and white answer because life is not black and white. Life is gray, and you have multiple options. This is not a math problem. This is a life problem, and there's various scenarios you could do. There's 2 ways you could be moral and right about this, but both scenarios include not saying anything negative or bad about your past employers, and both scenarios include making sure the dates on your resume match. I hope this was helpful. Stay tuned for the next video, and thanks for watching.